Hello, listeners. From the studio of Laker Radio, this is Laker Podcast. This is host Tim Reed. Today I'm with my co-host Jake Lowey and our special guest, senior sports enthusiast Nick Hannon. Thank you, Nick, for joining us on Laker Podcast today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So today our topics we're going to be talking about are the Cleveland Browns' new logos and uniforms, Johnny Manziel leaving rehab, and the Cleveland Cavaliers making their first playoff appearance since 2010. So a great lineup of things to talk about. Obviously, big things happening in Cleveland sports recently. A few weeks ago, the Browns published a new logo. What were you guys' thoughts on the new logo?
A waste of money. It's pretty much just you're changing one shade of brown for another on the helmets. I mean, at least they were nice enough to redo the dog on theirs. I really see that as the main logo, or the dog with the helmet. I just don't know how much they like $1,000 just to change one shade or something. It's stupid.
As a longtime fan of the Browns, for them to have us anticipate a logo and then come out with a different shade in a brown face mask, it looks like it took them 5 minutes. So at the time, I was a little discouraged as a fan. It was kind of a slap in the face. It's kind of like, oh, the Browns, what are they doing? You know, they're kind of making, a fool out of themselves yet again. And it was, I didn't like it. But, as the new jerseys came out last night, I think the helmets, I see where they're going with it. And, I think it turned out all right, actually.
The helmets looked like a Photoshop practice thing I did in high school when I first started doing Adobe, but I will agree the jerseys are the better part of it. It is, you can do very little with any sports jersey, and you actually found a way to make it cool and better than the original, which is very hard to do.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. In my opinion, the logo release was disappointing. It seemed like the organization was trolling the fans. They just changed the orange to a darker shade. I think there was a bigger story behind the whole thing, because apparently they were going to go with Brownie the Elf as the new logo, but they panicked. They thought fans would have a negative reaction to that, so they panicked, and last minute they had some guy go into Photoshop and change the shade of the orange, and then whatever, maybe they had the bulldog made already, so it was overall disappointing. But last night they had the big unveiling of the uniforms. They had a whole show for it at the was it the IX Center or the Cleveland Convention Center?
I think it's the Convention Center. That's more realistic.
And they came out in these cloaks. Many of the actual Browns players came out in cloaks. Under them they were wearing the new uniforms, and these new uniforms revealed 9 combinations of white, brown, and orange unis. And now people are calling us the Oregon of the NFL. So you guys touched on this a little already about the new uniforms, but what are your further and deeper thoughts on them?
I really like them. I think it's a new, cleaner look. Last night was great. There was a lot of energy. There was, tons of fans. I like what they did. Nike's a top-of-the-line brand, and they cleaned the look up. We need to, as an organization, we need to go somewhere else. We need to change the image of the Cleveland Browns, because for the last 15 years or whatever, since we've been around, they've been boring. They've been the laughingstock of the NFL, and I think it was time to really upgrade the image and get a clean look out there. I really like the white uniforms. I thought they're very sharp looking. The all orange ones, they're a little obscene, but you can work with it. We're not going to really know until we get like on HDTV, or see them live. We're not going to know how they really shine, but from last night, I think it's all positive.
I think last year the Browns became a phoenix. The old Browns died, and then last year we had a new phoenix, the new Browns. Unfortunately, instead of flying, it flopped. And I think with the new uniform, it's going to help, and I think they're going to possibly make the final into the playoffs.
Well, the thing is,
If we do as well as we did and this time keep Johnny Manziel off the field.
we need to get good players to wear those uniforms ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have good uniforms, new uniforms doesn't mean we're gonna start winning games all of a sudden. But it is exciting from a fan point of view, and it's the off season, so it gives us something to talk about before the draft. But ultimately, we need to get some players in there who can fit those uniforms and win some football games.
Speaking of the elf, whatever happened to the mascot? Because I know we had a bulldog mascot. I haven't seen any tail of it.
I don't think they really do too much with the elf. It's more of an older thing, to look back on.
Yeah, that was an older logo.
It's still really popular, and I know with the Cavaliers they added a second mascot, which is actually a Cavalier, and they still have the dog, but maybe
Moondog.
they can do a elf mascot now to go with the bulldog.
Yeah,
I definitely think the elf is still popular enough with the fans and that kind of an icon where if they were to maybe reimage it or bring it out somehow, that would be popular.
They got the dog pound, so they're going to go with the bulldog. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the elf is outdated. It is what it is. It's an older logo. I'll still buy stuff with the elf on it. I like it, but I think I like it where it's at.
Yeah, I think the bulldog's definitely the way to go. Initially, before they revealed the new bulldog logo, I was for the elf, and then the only cool part of the new stuff I think is really the bulldog. It's kind of like growling, and it really shows the spirit of the dog pound. Just going on a little further about the new jerseys, people are calling us the Oregon of the NFL, and I was thinking about it last night. I'm like, I don't want to be the Oregon of the NFL. I want to be the Ohio State of the NFL. I want to win games. I want to get to the playoffs. I want to win a Super Bowl. And I think a lot of people, like you said before, Nick, a lot of Browns fans just care about how the on-field product is, and that's what's been down and struggling the past 15, 20 years. So going a little further into my opinion I would have done drastic things with the logo, the uniforms, the colors. I think they should have restructured everything. Changed the name to the Cleveland Bulldogs, which actually existed in the 1920s. And you also have the history from the Canton Bulldogs, which Canton is about a half hour away from Cleveland.
Huge football town.
Yeah, huge football town.
Stark County is the hotbed of football in Ohio, so.
Oh, absolutely.
So
high school.
A lot of tradition down there with Massillon and Canton McKinley. So.
I definitely personally think so far we just seen smoke and mirrors. I think we know we're going to be. They've got a game plan going. They've definitely proven they have the skill to actually win more than 3 games in a row and go as far as they did, which I don't think has ever been done in God knows how long. We're just getting smoke and mirrors, the light show. I think definitely something's going to happen. I do think also they need to change their names. Definitely want to hear them go to the Cleveland Bulldogs, change their image.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, instead of changing the shade from orange to darker orange, like, they had people so excited, and I guess a lot of people were happy and satisfied with the result of the jersey combinations last night, but they could have just done so much more with the whole restructure, just renaming everything. They had a chance to do this, and now it's just kind of like, all right, same old Browns. To me, kind of boring colors of brown and orange.
Well, there's not much you can really do color scheme-wise that they haven't already had.
Well, yeah, that's...
Well, he's talking about changing the colors.
If you just change everything.
I'm okay with the colors. They are what they are. I think the uniform change. I get what you're saying. I think it's all right. It's not a big deal. I care about on the field really. This organization, we were 6-3 last year, and then we're in the playoff hunt. Next thing you know, we're taking 2 steps back. Johnny Manziel's.
Yeah, I definitely think he's got to go. Like, trade him for a goat or something. Or 3 camels. I don't care what you got to do. He's got to go.
Yeah, next thing.
There's better uses of money, and I'm not just talking lap dances.
Well, I wouldn't, throw in the towel on him yet, but Josh McCown's our starting quarterback right now.
I'm going to wipe my ass on it and then give him the towel.
At least, as an organization, it feels like they're not taking things seriously, and they're not trying to, get a guy who you can build around. How many first-round draft picks have we had in the past 10 years who've just turned into flops? And it's as a fan, you just got to think, all right, come on. Let's quit wasting these draft picks. Let's get somebody who we can build a team on.
The only good thing about the draft last year with the Manziel pick was we got a hold of another team's picks. I can't remember the whole detailing on it, but we got a pretty good structure, I think, this year for picks.
We always have.
Oh, we always have picks,
but we never do good with them.
We don't use them. We don't get good players that we
we're
build around.
willing to throw gold out for manure.
Yeah.
And that's something that's got to change.
Well, this whole thing that you guys went into brings us to our next topic, which is Manziel, Johnny Football, is out of rehab.
There's
He was seen leaving the rehab facility the other day. And last night he was seen with his girlfriend at the Texas Rangers game.
There's no justice in the world.
I didn't see a beer. I didn't see anything. Hey, good for him. He's out of rehab. Hopefully he's got changed his attitude and he's ready to work. I think it's late April. They report practices. So I hope he's going to take this seriously. I think he's a tremendous talent. He needs to work hard. He didn't take it serious last year. You can tell. I went to the Buffalo game, actually, up in Buffalo, and I'm there. I'm excited. Johnny Football comes out, and he just didn't. He had a good drive and all, but he just didn't look like he knew what was going on. He was, guys were running different routes. He was throwing it away. He just didn't seem in tune. He didn't seem like a guy who really worked hard every day, really tried to learn the offense. And as a rookie, that's unacceptable. As a rookie fighting for a spot, you should be the first one in, last one out every day. Learning the playbook, learning everything. There should be no question on your effort on the field and in the film room as a rookie. And there was there. And he got a lot of backlash from his teammates, Joe Thomas and some of the other guys on the team. And right now, if I'm Johnny Manziel, I'm biting my teeth and I'm ready to prove that I'm going to be a good quarterback in this league and for this team.
And there were so many mixed messages last year from the media, and I think the media is a lot to blame for why Brian Hoyer started playing poorly, for why things began to happen in our locker room, especially once Johnny Football started, because you had this one side of the media which praised him, said he was studying film all the time, wasn't out partying, and then on the other side of the media you had the pictures of him drunk, passed out on a swan with a wine bottle in his hand, and it was really hard to really figure out what was going on. And I mean, that's more about the problems with the Cleveland media. But just to go in a little more about Manziel, last year I believe he started 2 games. He threw for 175 yards, 0 touchdown. He rushed for 1 touchdown versus Buffalo and threw 2 interceptions in those starts. So, the Browns recently signed free agent Josh McCown, as Nick said before. He was in Tampa Bay last season. He's 35 years old, though, and he has an NFL career of over 11,000 yards, 61 touchdowns, and 59 interceptions.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Why get a washed-up guy? We need young talent, sparks. We're changing our image. We're changing our uniform. We need to change the type of players we get. We need guys who are hungry to win. And I think Johnny Manziel, I think he can be hungry to win. He just needs to figure some things out off the field, and which hopefully he has. I think big things can come from him this year. I really do. I'm hopeful. As a fan, I'm hopeful because Josh McCown is not going to get it done. Let's be real. Like you said, he's 35 years old. What are you doing?
Do you think Manziel will be starting come September?
I hope so. I think he can if he wants it. If he puts on a good training camp and off season, why not? Brian Hoyer showed what he can do. You know, I think Brian Hoyer, he's a good quarterback. I don't want to knock the guy. He's from Cleveland. It was a great story last year. Hats off to him. He had a great season. But I don't think Brian Hoyer is going to take you to the Super Bowl or to the playoffs. And I'm not saying Johnny Manziel is either, but we haven't seen the full Johnny Manziel yet. We haven't seen the Johnny Manziel who beat Alabama twice in his college career. You know, he beat Alabama twice. That's a really good football team, Nick Saban. So I think the guy he can win. You know, and he's got that fire. We saw glimpses of it last year. So I think let's give him one more shot, and we'll see what he can do.
I definitely think that for all the crap I give to him, Manziel, he, for the most part, is the ideal candidate we need. Young, talented, willing. Except the willing part hasn't really showed. It's a miracle he's gotten this one more chance to go at it. And I think the Browns, definitely with their coaches, have had a habit of tossing a guy out and bringing a new one in when something didn't go right. And he's gotten a lot of bad press. There's a lot of things that fans can say, but he is a guy we need. He has the potential, if the rehab worked like it should, he's going to come out a better man who's going to start us off. And we do need players, even if they're older, I don't care. As long as they're willing, they're dedicated, I want them. We don't need these guys who are washed up and ready to hit the retirement train, than even the bigger guys who've gotten the rings are going to want to look at.
Oh, yeah, I agree. That's something the Browns have done. I mean, we recently picked up Dwayne Bowe, wide receiver from Kansas City, and he's old too, and it's like everybody gets all excited about these older players, and then once they get to the Browns, they don't really produce as much. So
the Browns definitely.
I like the Heartline acquisition. I think it's a decent one. But I want to go back, like Jake said. Johnny Manziel, he's young. People forget that he's one year removed from college. He gets thrown into the NFL, national media spotlight. ESPN swarms of Cleveland. Since when has Cleveland gotten all ESPN every day?
We haven't had that much buzz since LeBron dunked.
So he's thrown into this, thrown right into a quarterback competition. Okay, and I don't think he really knew at the time what he was getting himself into. He still was in the party phase. I'm young. I'm gonna go party. Well, you got to realize, Johnny Manziel, that everybody's watching you, and you saw the pictures, you saw all that stuff, and it just kind of caused a disturbance, throughout the organization with the coaches. I felt like Pettin handled it great. I thought the whole year, Pettin was a class act.
I like Pettin a lot.
He was no bull, all business, and he handled it well, and. Johnny Manziel going to rehab. Hopefully that's all behind him, and he can, make that transformation into a kid, into a man, and like we need. And he's a professional now, and he needs to start acting like it. And I think Mike Pettin will guide him in the right direction. He seems like a pro's pro of coaches. So
yeah, Pettin is. I mean, we couldn't ask for better, especially for the Browns right now in that whole situation. He handled it in the most professional manner, and he's even said many times that Manziel's rehab, which I think was more of a PR ploy versus him actually having to go to rehab.
Absolutely, it's not like the kid's addicted to cocaine here, or
he's not.
It's a PR move, but it's a good move. He needs to get out, get away from the spotlight. Do some soul searching, figure out what he wants to do here. And I think it was a good move for him, but yeah, like you said, it was definitely a PR move. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to give Manziel one more chance, even though I really started trashing him after that start versus Cincinnati because that was just atrocious. It was embarrassing. I remember watching on my couch at home over Christmas break, and nobody else was around, and I just wanted to crawl into a hole. I was so embarrassed. But McCown last year with Tampa Bay. He threw for like 2,206 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. So it's like you said before, it makes no sense to me. But regardless, whoever starts for the Browns at quarterback obviously is the biggest, key position we need, and whoever starts hopefully can bring us to the playoffs. And speaking of the playoffs, that leads us to our final topic of this podcast. Thank you, Jake. The Cavs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2010. Woo!
Let's get hype.
We have Boston in the first round.
Oh, that's good. I remember being at that last game in the playoffs, and I remember how atrocious. But we gave up. You can't see on the TV. You saw there. They were just. That was barely.
It was against Boston.
It was against Boston, and that's the game after that. LeBron took off his Cavs jersey as he was walking out of the tunnel, and that's when everybody knew he is out of here.
He's out.
This is redemption for Cleveland.
Oh, big
no
time.
better one. This is like stuff from Hollywood. It is a true story.
It's a new era for Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. You have Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving making their playoff debut. And maybe even a couple other guys on the roster. But it's exciting. It's exciting to have playoff basketball back in Cleveland. The city loves its sports, as you know. Mm-hmm. It's exciting. Restaurants are going to thrive. It's overall a positive thing happening in Cleveland for the Cavs. I'm excited. I can't wait.
With all the time LeBron's had with the injuries and all that, the strained muscles, I think he's definitely on the side been preparing for this one moment where he can say, I am a Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'm going to defend my kingdom. I am the king.
Boston pushed us around back in the era when James was initially with us.
Yeah.
And but we're a much better team now than we were then, and Boston is much younger than they were then. So they don't have as much playoff experience. We don't have that much playoff experience. What you mentioned before, Nick, Love and Irving, their first playoff debuts, and that makes me a little nervous. But at the same time, it's like I think a lot of these guys kind of want to send a message to Boston because Boston sports are good at everything. And I respect the Patriots. I'm not a huge hockey fan, so the Bruins, I guess,
tough.
whatever.
They're tough, but yeah.
I cannot stand the Celtics. I never could. Next to the Lakers, they always go around saying they have the most NBA rings. I just can't stand that, and I hope we just absolutely slaughter them and send them back to Boston and have an incredible playoff run, which leads me to the more important questions, the scarier questions of how far we can go in the playoffs. You look at a lot of the team, and we're brand new to the whole playoffs thing, but what team worries you most in the Eastern Conference playoffs?
I'd say right now, and I've been looking at the standings every day, I think the Chicago Bulls, they're the third seed right now, as of now, and I think if they win tonight, they'll hold on to that third seed. They scare me a little bit because we'll get them second round. They just got Derrick Rose back. They got Jimmy Butler back, so they're healthy. They're playoff. They have a lot of playoff experience. The Cavs being a team who lacks it, but I think the Cavs will be all right first through the East. Personally, you got to look back when LeBron James was in 2007. You look at the roster he had. You think those guys were playoff experience? Mo Williams, was probably the second best player. He led them to the finals. We have LeBron James. We have the greatest player in the world. So you had Kyrie Irving, Mozgov, J.R. Smith, Kevin Love, all these all-stars. And they don't have tons of playoff experience, but I think after that first round they get their hands wet. Their hands dirty with the Boston Celtics, put a thumping on them. I think they're going to carry that momentum right into the second round against the Bulls. Handle their business with the Bulls. It's not going to be easy. Bulls are physical. They're a physical team. And then, you assume the Hawks. It's not going to be, it's the playoffs. It's going to be tough, but we're going to have home court advantage into the, Eastern Conference Finals, hopefully. So, I think the Cavs are at the end of the day, I think they're going to be in the finals.
I definitely have high hopes too.
Yeah, I hope. I think what worries me the most, obviously, the Bulls. But Derrick Rose is so prone to injuries that I don't think he's going to make it through the playoffs to meet us. And that's unfortunate on their part, but that helps us definitely in the playoffs.
Well, they only have to win. They only have to beat the Bucks in the first round. That's the thing. They beat the Bucks. You assume they can, and then they have us. So, as for a second round team, I'd rather be playing someone else than the Bulls. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and
it's going to make us stronger when we win.
Yeah, I mean, you got to beat them all to win. You got to beat the best.
We beat all the best players in the conference.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Hey, we could be in the Western Conference.
That's true. I'm glad we're not there. I mean,
things could be worse. So
that's very true.
It's a meat grinder. It's unbelievable.
One time, I'm glad to be enjoying the snow and this crappy weather, or the sun.
It's getting better now, though.
Yeah.
So the Hawks are the best team have the best record in the East, the best team at 60-21, which is it's crazy because usually like Atlanta always has they always have playoff teams, but they're always just there. They never really make a big
a push.
Yeah, and they're there. But this year, I think they're going to give us some headaches, and I think we're going to meet them in the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, obviously, you have to ask the question, but are they a true championship squad?
I don't think the Hawks are a championship squad. They're very good. They play well together, and that's the thing. They move the ball very well. But I think they lack that superstar leader that's going to take them to the next level. I mean, you have guys like Jeff Teague and Al Horford. They're really good basketball players, but they haven't been to the finals. They haven't been to 4 straight finals like LeBron James has. And so I think they're not there yet. They're a great team. They're gonna win some games in this playoffs. And I could see them taking the Cavs and make 6 or 7 games. But at the end of the day, I think the Cavs just have too much talent. They're clicking on all cylinders right now. They have a great coach. Everyone's buying in. They're having fun. So I think it's the Cavs to lose in the Eastern Conference Finals. And we'll see. And as the Western Conference is concerned, they're all great teams. They're gonna beat up on each other for a month, and whoever comes out of the West is gonna have a fresh Cleveland. Hopefully, hopefully it's not. We're not gonna be having 3 7-game series in a row. I hope this is the way I see it. I'd say we blow through our first round, blow through the Celtics, blow through the Bulls in 5 to 6 games. And then the Hawks 6 or 7. So it's not going to be too.
Definitely, once the Bulls come up, it's going to be a.
It's going to be tough, but not. I'd rather have the Bulls and the Thunder or the Spurs or the Warriors in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, ever since over the summer when LeBron announced that he was returning home, we became the favorites to go to the NBA Finals and actually win the NBA Finals. Now, that was a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of professional music performers and people that just can say, oh, well, LeBron's the best player, all right, wherever he goes, they're going to win the finals, they're going to be the favorites.
That's not how it works.
Can we really go up against the powerhouses currently in the Western Conference in the finals like Golden State? And even what scares me more is San Antonio because, they won the NBA championship last year, and they went to the finals and lost to the Heat the year before that. So they scare me the most. The Spurs do. What about you guys? Which team in the Western Conference scares you most?
I mean, I'm not I don't follow as well as you guys, but anyone with a harsh record like that, especially recently, has to be feared. You can't go in there lightly and expect any less than their diehard best, because most of those people are probably ones that were their top contenders last year. In the year before.
Absolutely.
Splash Bros scare me. Greg Popovich, the general of that team. I mean, they got the winning recipe, obviously. They've shown it. Whoever comes out of the Western Conference, it's not going to be easy. And, I think right now, the Cavs, I think they've arrived a year early. I don't think they can win it, and I expect them to, but if they don't, I'm I'm okay with it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's not like I said. I think if they do win it, they've arrived a year early. Kind of like Ohio State football this year. Ohio State football coming in, did we really know they were going to win it? And we weren't sure, and they did.
Mhm.
You know, but
Mhm.
they weren't. You know, we didn't think they were going to, so they arrived a year early. And I think the Cavs, if they do win it, they arrived a year early. But who says they can't win it? To play the way they're playing right now, they have LeBron James. They have a bunch of talent. Got an inside guy with Mozgov. Have a spot up 3-point shooter. They call him microwave instant. J.R. Smith. So
I like that.
you know, hey, Spurs are going to be tough. Golden State's going to be tough, but we only got to play one of them.
No matter where you are, whether we're somewhere, we're here, we're God knows where, I think the media is going to cover our butts like crazy, and
Oh,
we're going to be the media.
Well, it's the
Well, they're-
NBA
yeah, they're
playoffs,
gonna-
man. It's the NBA playoffs. The media's going to be there.
And no matter what, I think whatever team you're going up against, they're going to practice.
Media's always a
double
little
down
harsher
on us.
towards Cleveland. We know that. It's
I think LeBron James got probably 5 more years, so even if we don't make it this year, we got another 4.
oh, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't expect us to win it this year, but I expect us to win 2 before James retires. I hope.
It's going to be a rocky story.
I want us to get to the finals and get Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, all those guys playing together, some finals experience, and then you look for next year for Anderson Varejao to come back and really hit the ground running and start something big here in Cleveland. I think.
Oh, and it would be.
I think this is just the beginning.
I think
Yeah,
a lot of players
absolutely.
are definitely going to want to sign with us. We're going to definitely do some amazing things next year that we can only dream of having even achieved this year.
It would be great, and the same year Ohio State wins the college football playoff national championship, that
First
the
one
Cavs
ever.
win.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
the
was
NBA
something
Finals.
insane.
I mean,
It's a big. Hey, times are good in Cleveland.
oh yeah, dude, Ohio, Cleveland, everything seems like it's going
Proud
up,
to
and
be a Buckeye.
it's exciting. It's exciting as heck. And just an exciting time of year in general. You have both NBA and NHL playoffs. School is ending. The weather's getting better, and
Tribe time. And,
yeah, tribes.
Yeah, girls are tanning outside. so
There we go. There we go. Yeah, so NBA playoffs officially start this Sunday, the 19th. It's gonna be a fun one, especially since our team is finally back in it. And the past few years have been exciting as heck. Be a basketball fan and watch some great playoff
It's just that
games.
much better when your team's in.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You got something to follow.
It's a lot more nerve-wracking though too. I mean, during the Ohio State games, man, there were times where I was covering my eyes. I was so scared to watch.
Pacing back and
it's
forth.
always been a great year for sports fans of Cleveland.
Browns did a little better than they usually do. Won a
Usually
couple
do.
more.
7-9, Cleveland Browns, not bad.
Probably
Still
one-
took those 2 steps back, but
Yeah.
hey, that's the Browns.
Probably their best record in God knows how many years.
It's
I mean,
2008, I think.
yeah.
I could be wrong.
If memory serves me correct. They all blend together now.
Hmm.
Losing seasons.
It's always that last little itty bitty chunk at the end that always gets burnt. Okay, now I want cookies.
Any other last thoughts? What do you guys want to say?
Go LeBron!
Hey, it's gonna be great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's
Hey, thanks for
fun.
being on the show. Your sports
It's fun to
wisdom gave
talk.
us a lot of material.
It's fun to talk Cleveland sports.
Amen.
Yeah.
I love it, and go Cavs. I'll be watching.
Well, folks, that's it today. Thanks for listening. Thanks again, Nick. Thanks again, Jake, for coming in and sharing your sports knowledge.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
And go Cavs.